free time, I love to race my mountain bike. What's cool about racing is every second counts. Even in long endurance races, the clock is relentless. Seconds make minutes, minutes make hours. What I love most about the race clock is that it shows no mercy, and neither does crisis. People say time is money, but what does that mean? What is your relationship to time? How can you measure its value? We can measure the value of money, a commodity, but what about time? Time, arguably one of our most valuable resources, isn't renewable. Once it's spent, it's gone. The Greeks had a biopic take on time: chronos, big swaths of time, and kairos, the now, the present, the moment to moment. Regular clock time for, let's say, work deadlines or picking up your children, that's a slice of chronos. Kairos, now that's the magic. Those split-second benchmarks in life that change us, where calendar and clock disappear and time marinates in meaning. We are all driven by an incessant schedule. Safe to say, we have a sharp understanding for chronos, real time, but do we have an understanding of how quickly it dissolves? When people refer to time flying, what does that really mean? It's our perception of time. How we interpret time defines its flight. However, when our time is taken away or cut short, we take note. Suddenly, its value spikes. My life changed with a simple tumble on my mountain bike before a race in Moab, Utah in 2011. And since then, my sense of time has been forever changed. It seemed like a harmless spill. I bury my front wheel in a deep hole on a descent. My handlebar jabs me in the gut before I land on my back in the rocks. I get up, collect myself, race the next day, win, carry on, business as usual. Later that night, it feels like I ate a bowl of broken glass. Finally, about 2 a.m., I drink some pink Pepto-Bismol my husband got at a 7-Eleven. The pain subsides, but the gurgles, purrs, and downright creepy noises emerging from my belly don't go away and raise eyebrows. I'm also really tired, like out of gas tired. The belly full of glass continues to nag, but I just go along and thinking, I really need to be gluten-free. Maybe paleo. I probably just need to ride more. Yeah, that's it. I should ride more. The next day, back in LA, my body speaks to me so loudly, I go directly to the ER in Santa Monica and later land in a level 1 trauma unit. Apparently, I'm bleeding internally, and they diagnosed me with a life-threatening celiac dissection, which means the artery that feeds my digestive organs is torn. I'm bedridden in the trauma unit for a total of 7 days. No food, no water, no real idea why I'm bleeding, and when that artery wall could potentially tear fully open, leaving me at risk to bleed out. What just happened? One day I'm riding and racing in Moab, Utah. 24 hours later, I'm a prisoner in a hospital cube with groaning roommates. My field of vision is about 8 feet. I look up at the ceiling. I look up at the curtains to my right, curtains to my left, curtains at the foot of my bed. I am locked in a curtain cube, flat on my back, wired up, the sound of my vitals keeping me company. I'm no longer in control, and time stops. The cold reality that came into focus for me is this: no amount of money, no cool job, no fun race can rescue me from this moment. I am stuck, and all the playing fields have been leveled. Most of us think about money as a commodity, but certainly not time. I realize I can always make more money. I can never make more time. This gets my attention. This is important to get clear on. In the trauma unit, I wait countless hours for my turn to have the doctor come by because I'm hoping to get some news. I have stuff to do, and this is not on my to-do list. When they first tell me not to have any food or water, the line from Devil Wears Prada pops into my head. I'm 2 viruses away from skinny jeans. By day 3, it's not funny. I can't even have ice cubes. I sign power of attorney papers and I check yes for do not resuscitate. Facing my own mortality immediately anchors me to the present. I flip through the catalog of my life and I think, how did I do? Did I make the most of it? What am I doing with my time anyway?
By the time we reach 50, we will have spent 438,000 hours of life.
How does that net out? Assuming you sleep about 8 hours a night, that's 146,000 hours. You started working at the age of 18, Only on weekdays with 4 weeks vacation, 8 hours a day, that's 96,000 hours. Around 21,000 will be spent on eating and drinking. After all of that, you have 175,000 hours to spend for everything else. What exactly is everything else? Well, it looks like this. And what stunned me is that tiny dot is the amount most of us spend on health-related self-care. As you can see, we'll spend most of our lives sleeping and working. Resident interns come by with their noses buried in their cell phones, answering texts about other patients, not even looking me in the eye when it's my turn. It's not that I don't matter. I just don't matter enough for someone's undivided attention. It crushes me. It makes me wonder, have I done that to other people? Life today revolves around our minds ping-ponging among many targets of attention with so many distractions available. Cultural producers who mine our time like gold diggers have shattered our sense of time. We are trained to read tidbits, tweets, recall catchphrases. Long stretches of time, or chronos, and undivided attention seem like a thing of the past, even in the hospital, where it should matter the most. This year, it's estimated that Americans will consume both traditional and digital media for over 1.7 trillion hours, an average of approximately 15 and a half hours per person per day. The amount of media delivered is 74 gigabytes, 9 DVDs worth of data sent to the average consumer on an average day. What does an average day look like? It's not until we get down to the 1.5 hour mark does exercise and sports come into play out of the 76 items most of us do. Here I discovered that the time spent on medical care and medical care services was only slightly higher than time spent on sports, exercise, and recreation. We're at a critical juncture with our time management. Are we effective stewards on how our time is spent? How much time do we devote to critical thinking and self-education when it comes to something as important as our own health? Technology will help our ability to be our own experts. In the hospital, I use my cell phone to pull down a signal, hook up my iPad and laptop, and in a morphine haze try to do my own research about what this dissection means and why I was bleeding. I'm a need-to-know person, and I have all these questions swimming around in my head. What's my life going to look like moving forward? What lifestyle adjustments do I have to make, if any? How long before I can ride again? Eric Topol, author of The Patient Will See You Now, notes there's a great inversion in medicine happening right now where patients are a little more in control of their health care and taking an active role. Open Notes is a national initiative working to give patients access to their visit notes by their doctors. This, as you can imagine, is an important step in helping you marshal a little bit more control. I enjoy my head surgeon, Alex. He wears fleece. I like that. It makes him feel trustworthy. Fleece is familiar. It's warm, not chilly like the white lab coats. He's done a few tours in Afghanistan, so if the shit hits the fan, I think it's good to have him on my side. Well, the shit hits the fan. I have another episode of bleeding and my blood count drops. My week-long stay in the trauma unit results in an emergency surgery, 17 staples up my abdomen. They remove part of my stomach, and surprise, a tumor the size of a grapefruit. 2 weeks later, I'm in the checkout line at Trader Joe's, and the hospital calls me. I'm trying to remember my PIN number, one hand holding the phone, the other fumbling around the keypad, when I hear the term malignant. In that moment, my life changed. I have a rare form of digestive cancer called GIST, an acronym for gastrointestinal stromal tumor. This is a new cancer, they tell me, discovered in the late 90s. The medical team wants me to go on a pill form of chemotherapy. I have 2 weeks to decide what to do. I want the answer to simply appear, be easy like answering a waitress, dressing on the side, no cheese, hold the chemo, and skip the medications, please. I look for any shred of happiness in the simplest ways, and I look hard at what it means to be happy and thrive, since I am neither. Walking and listening to podcasts was a good place to start. Some days I'd make my way outside, and I'd just stand there. I'd look up at the steep driveway and think, not today. I'm just terrified the staples will rip out and my guts will spill all over the place. Indre Viscontis, host of Inquiring Minds podcast, was a staple for me. Her love of technology was inspiring. I had emailed her about her relationship to time, and she shared this sentiment. The older I get, the faster time seems to pass, or at least the more precious it seems to be. This seemed to be a through line with most everyone I reached out to, even Noam Chomsky. I admire his work so much, I thought, why not email him? This is a fantastic use of technology. When you understand your time is limited, you become fearless. Why becomes, why not? Just 1 hour later, he replies, in brief, I've noticed that the years get shorter with passing years. To answer the question, it would take an essay. We discuss positivity, and he shares one of his famous quotes. The important thing is you try to commit yourself to making the positive signs more real. Suppose you felt that there's a 99% of a probability that human civilization is going to be destroyed in the next 100 years, but 1% chance it won't be. And that 1% offers some opportunities to do something. Well, you commit yourself to that 1%. I was committed to that 1% that I'd make it up the driveway, committed to making my own choices with my health that were right for me, committed to making the most of my remaining time. After 3 days, I say no to chemo and I ask to be on a watchful wait, which means I get CT scans for the rest of my life. I put money aside for taxes and my own funeral. I become productive. I become practical. Next, I beg my vascular surgeon, against his better judgment, to do a second surgery. I'm prepared to put a stent in my artery to deal with this dissection. It was a risk, but it was more important for me to do the things I loved, even if my timeline was at stake. After the second surgery, it turns out it wasn't a celiac dissection. My seemingly innocent bike crash actually broken open the malignant tumor, so now I just have the cancer reoccurrence to deal with. Training on my bike again and following a plan became my new baseline and the one thing I'd use to measure my health. Linda Wallenfeld, my coach, played a critical role in my recovery. As soon as I was able to hop on a bike, those driveway treks and rides later culminated into a national mountain bike championship win just 8 short months later under her watchful eye. How that race unfolded for me became a North Star. Chronos and Kairos collided in the most beautiful way. I was racing the clock but experiencing the vividness of the moment, the urgency of time. Of course I was suffering like everyone else in the race, but I was capable of going to a place inside myself that I was unable to access before cancer. I had wondered about this voodoo pain cave, the place that allowed one rider to tolerate and endure maybe just a little deeper. My mind would snap back to laying there asking the head surgeon Alex, at the very least, can I stick my head out a window? I just wanted some air. I wasn't used to being inside, I said. I just wanted some air. I would have done anything to be outside riding my bike during that time. So now, here I am, not only riding, but racing my bike. In a race, pain thresholds can appear like hyper-reduced arcs of time. They're a series of micro-horizons increasingly awful and difficult to pursue. You take what you can take, it's that simple, until you find you hit your limit. The bike crash I took in 2011 saved my life. Because riding is important to me, I make time for it, and I use it to measure how I'm feeling. Riding bought me more time, happiness, and the clarity to spend my time with intention. I invite you not to wait for a crisis in order to evaluate how you spend your time now. How can you blend your Chronos and Kairos? Time isn't an infinite resource. Are you living the life that you want now? And that's it.